This time on Woody's Garage, the Z50R gets parts. Finally, cheapy.
So I went out and bought a 75 watt Weller soldering gun and redid those connections on the capacitor. The capacitor is like not the right size. It's smaller and it's shorter. I'll show you a picture of it now. I bought it from 4-to-1 and I've been communicating with them, telling them it's the wrong one. They were saying maybe this is a Mitsubishi ignition system instead of a Hitachi. You know, there's nothing that says anything on it, so it's something I still need to research. Maybe they're right. I don't really know. I do have spark right now. So, there's some other things I want to kind of look at with the engine. Being the exhaust, if you can see that, that's all blobbed up with some kind of goo, but it's holding out right now, and I'm a little worried about pulling it apart and then having a real problem right there, considering it's running. Maybe they just lost a stud, maybe they broke off a stud, I'm not really sure. I'm going to bring it outside, I think, and maybe degrease it a little bit, get the overspray off of it, and maybe paint up that pipe a little bit. Oh, we got a little paint on the exhaust. Degrease the engine a bit. A little paint on these. Mixture of the gloss and the flat, but this is just flat. And the brake arm. Alright, this is kind of the nut that holds on, or the bolt and the nut that hold on the handlebars. And the handlebars are broken, and I still want to get a different setup, some handlebar clamps instead of these things, so I can move the handlebars around. But in the meantime, it's pretty hard to move around the bike without handlebars on it, so this was in kind of bad shape, so I've run it back and forth with the drill. Just to get it so the threads work really good. And I'm just going to crimp that broken part together on the handlebars and leave it like that until I decide. Who knows, maybe I'll weld them up and use them. And here are the handlebars. You can see how wank this side got. I'm just going to put it in the vise and tighten this up and close it back up so that I can use it for now. Yeah, you know, I mean, what a bad design this was. They cheaped out on this, you know. I don't think I could use this, even if I decided to. It would be really rough to get everything flat and straight. So we'll put them on like this, and we'll get some handlebar clamps, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use these bars or get another set of bars. I'd rather just use these. And, you know, break the weld and smooth it down, see if we can use them. Okay, I had to put these bolts back in. This is still the wrong one, but it seemed to tighten up, so we'll use it for now. And this was the right one. This one tightened up okay. Still got that fork leg down there that is wankoed. But let's put the handlebars on so that we can at least move it around easier. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But like I said, I can move it around. But it also kind of stinks to like hitch everything else back up and, like, you know, not address this now. I just don't have the money for the handlebar clamps right now. They're going to be about a month off. So I want to put the engine on, you know, then you can get it off the milk crate and have it stand on its own. Yeah, the bike is so light, I just put the engine on the milk crate and put the bike over the top of it. The only thing I had to do is put the exhaust pipe through the rear shock. I think that's right. Looks right, because everything's like lined up just fine. This is so easy. Front brake is back on. I can't remember if I went through this hole or not, but, you know, front end's going to come apart again anyway. Yeah, I don't like that that gear shift. That thing is pretty bent. So let's straighten that out. It was also like, I mean, here's the peg. It's way the hell down here. It was really hard to upshift. This is still wanked way over here, and this is wanked. So we'll beat on it a little bit and see how it comes out. Oh, I think I got to compromise with this. I mean, every time I bend this, this bends. And every time I bend this, this bends. So I don't really have a way to hold them both and move them. And I'm afraid it's going to snap. So it's pretty straight. One thing I realized too is probably down like that I was able to take off the cover, because once you put it up like this you can't put the cover on. So for now, oh shit. Yeah, I set the points, so although I hate the condenser that's in there, I will be coming back off, but we're going to put the cover on. We'll throw the chain on too. Case is on, chain is on. This should probably have a bend that comes out like this and then runs parallel up. You know, instead of bending it straight like I did. It clears the case just by a little bit, but that's probably what it should do. And then maybe this would be straight, you know, you just put it that way and put a little bulge this way, which I just took out of it. That would probably be the best thing. Alright, the threads were kind of suspicious on this. This bolt would go on, this nut would go on just so far, just about where it is, and then it would start getting really tight, although the threads didn't look bad. So I found this spacer right here, and I just put a washer there and snugged it up, and yeah, it's fine. The alignment looks fine too. Put the rear brake on for what it's worth. I didn't put the spring on. That spring is a little short to use the actual post that's in here, which I'd like to use, so I think I might order a rear spring and eventually, you know, get the right brake rod. Either that or I was thinking of making one out of threaded rod, although it would look ugly, but you know, it would work a lot better than this. You wouldn't have to have cotter pins in there and stuff. So I threw the tank on. I should have taken a shot of it. I actually said like, ooh, I kind of like that red for the tank, you know, because I'm kind of hemming and hawing on what color to use. I was thinking black once again, but you know, it's so overused, or silver, which I think would make it look too big and fat. So I might try to locate the Honda red, Tahitian red, or is that the Yamaha color? I'll look around for it. Okay, here it sits. I decided today I want to take off the handlebars and strip off this old crap so that I can get it ready for some risers or handlebar clamps, and you know, paint it up and stuff like that. I usually like to wait till I get the part, but I'm not going to fix it like that. I'm not going to get another set of bars, or I don't want to. And yeah, I might as well do it. So as you've probably seen from other videos, this has a crack along this one. This side's okay, but this was all bent out and stuff like that. I just tapped it back into place, but I was thinking it was rather malleable, so I think I'm going to take a hammer and see if I can kind of like friction break this off, or that's not the term, but just bend it back and forth and see if I can break it off, instead of, you know, taking the grinder to it down here and, you know, hoping I don't go through the bars or you know, go too far into the bars. Let's see if I can just take like vice grips or something like that and bend this piece off. Literally 2 taps with a hammer went poo poo, and it just fell right off. So it'd be nice to split this one too and do it the same way and just peel it like a banana. Not bad at all. Get to grinding. I did this on the bench grinder. Using that hand grinder. I don't like that machine at all. I don't like the adapters it has. It always feels like the grinding wheel's going to break in two, and it's happened twice on that, and the cutting wheels have broken off on that too. Filing by hand now, because this side is almost there. You can still see that ridge right there. It's not all the way flat, but I couldn't roll it because of the crossbar and the the limitations on the bench grinder to roll around this way, so I was scared I was going to put a flat side on it. So I'll keep working at this. This one's coming out good. The other side is actually kind of crappy. Yeah, it's not bad. Any dark spot like that, you know the handlebar's lower than the weld was there. But at the same time, you got pits like this one. There's definitely a pit in the handlebar. So these are going to be covered up with clamps. I've already found some clamps on eBay, I think from TRX 90 or something like that. And they look like they'll work very well, and I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is they have like a bump on the bottom that I'm almost positive will fit into this hole. I mean, I'm sure Honda used like standard bores and stuff like that for things, and that's what this hole should be. I mean, it looks right, so you know I don't have to put a washer in there and hope it stays in there or weld something in there or whatever. But it was weird. I was looking for like the cheapest handlebar clamps out there, and you'd find the pit bike ones from China. They were like 14 bucks. If you look around and I did a search for Honda handlebar clamps and spent some time looking. I mean, I found those clamps for like $9.95 shipped. So you can't really beat that, and they'll work much better than that Chinese junk. A little better. Considering the rest of the shape of the bike, the bars aren't too bad. They were pretty straight. There is kind of evidence of a rebend back here because it's a little, thinnish through here as compared to here. It's definitely fatter. So whoever bent it back did a good job. But I've been thinking of going silver with the handlebars, I mean, everything's like black. I'm sick of bikes that are all flat black and cars that are all flat black. They're just so boring. Anybody can do that. So maybe metal flake green. Well, I got in my handlebar clamps today, and just as I thought, see that rise right there? That fits perfectly in that hole. So that's great. Not only will I get a little more rise out of the handlebars, but now I can adjust them forward so they won't hit my knees. Yeah, I think they'll work quite well, and hell, they look so much better. That cheap weld-on job. And, now I can move the bike and start it up and that kind of stuff, so that was a good thing. I got more parts coming as well from Dr. ATV. I'll show you those when I get them. Okay, we got our order in from Dr. ATV. Came rather quickly, as it usually does. It's great, great shop. Let's see, what we got is a tank cushion. We got the cheapo kickstart. This thing was only 10 bucks. I mean, it looks pretty damn good if you ask me. I didn't like that other one. We got an insulator. We got a seal for the gear shift, which is leaking. We got a bolt for the forks, the top of the forks. That other one was bogus. I got an exhaust stud, thinking that's probably what the problem is with the bike. Got a brake spring. I think that's everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to start the thing, because of the new points and condenser in it. I haven't started it since that, because what it was doing the last time we ran it was cutting out all of a sudden. Like, it was running fine, then all of a sudden it would just run a little bit and just die. So the points and condenser were switched, thinking that could be it. But I also have a new carburetor in case that's it. But I kind of want to do one thing at a time, so we'll start it up. I also got that blue piece of gas hose. I meant to get like 3 or 4 feet of it, and I forgot to mark up the quantity since they sell it in 1 foot pieces. But that'll do it for this job anyway. Throttle's not even tight. Okay, we replaced this bolt. The other one was short. I think it does a better job tightening them up. Got the front forks a little straighter.
This one's 13 millimeter, this one's 14, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. We got a little play in the front end, so what I want to do is tighten this up here. You can tap it with a screwdriver, and you loosen this up, or maybe you don't even have to, and you take the slack out of it. Still there. You can see that. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Maybe something else is screwed up. Yeah, I think we got it. It's they're fine threads in there. They're very fine threads, so it takes quite a few turns to really get it down. So all the play seems to be out of it. Now we'll tighten this guy down. Not a lot of room to do that. You can kind of see how ill-fitting this old kickstart is. This is a new one. It angles out a little bit. I kind of don't like that, but the splines are really good and it should fit tighter. Well, it certainly fits better, but like I said, I don't like how it sticks out. I'm sure you get used to it, but I got the new brake spring on in the right place by putting the screwdriver underneath it here and tipping it up till it took off almost all the paint. I guess we could touch that up, but it works fine. Okay, we're going to see if we can get that oil seal replaced. We got the bike at an angle, so the oil won't come pouring out of it because I don't want to change it quite yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to take off the shifter. I think we'll take off the side cover so that we can see a little bit better. Alright, the best idea I've seen is to drill a small hole in the edge of the seal, find a screw that is a little bigger than the hole, that is not as wide as this seal, and screw that in and then pull it out with a pair of pliers. Ew. Yeah, the drill doesn't really reach that far. Not good. We got a sheetrock screw in it. The extension. And we're going to try to yank on that. Let's see what happens. Please come out. Please, pretty please. It's coming a little bit. It's coming. It's gonna knock me off of my seat. Ugh. Got it. No damage. Looks good. You can kind of see that's the screw didn't go far in to do any damage or anything like that. So maybe a sheetrock screw is the best thing to use. Just be careful not to go too far. Some grease on the shaft. Can't really get it in there too well, but we'll put it all over the seal. And then we got to see, though, the shaft is pretty long. On some bikes it's not. And because it is, I gotta use like a long socket. Hopefully it'll fit over the shaft. And you'll be able to tap this thing in. Let's hope. See how this one works. Looks pretty square. Yeah, almost in, but I think the socket is bottoming out. It's a 1/2 inch drive, yeah. This one might clear it all. Yep, nice and flush is what you want, not deeper than that. A little more of a tap. Yeah, that should do it. Now I don't fear doing the one on my 550. So to be fair to this poor battered carburetor, I'm thinking of putting in the insulator before I swap carbs. Now the other carb, it looks pretty much like this, although this unit sticks straight up. But you worry about like cable length and stuff like that because there's not much adjustment in the throttle. So, you know, I'd much rather go with this one if I can, but let's put that insulator in. Okay, I opened the insulator and I found out it didn't have an O-ring. You think they could have, you know, if you need one of these, you probably need one of these. I can't believe that wasn't part of it. But, you know, as a Honda part, I'm not blaming Dr. ATV. That's what Honda puts in the package. And I had to borrow this O-ring from the new carburetor. But at least I got one. Okay, I want to mount the tank like a little better. I hated wiring it on or roping it on or whatever. I made these little wood blocks here. And just drilled a hole, put this through, screwed it in there. You can see it goes through the tunnel there. So it sits in place. The handlebars hit it, but it can pivot, so it's all right. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's running well. Feels good. The carb seems to leak a little bit in the bowl. The float's sticking a little bit. And it's staying running now. So I guess it was the condenser was bad, but yeah, pretty happy. I still don't. Should I change the carburetor? I don't know. Should I just try to fix the float bowl? It's definitely crusty inside. Not sure. Another thing I did wonder is the gas tank used to have a filter in it, and there was always like an air bubble in the gas line. And now I don't think I have that, so that could have been the problem too. I didn't mention before, that shifter is needs a little more bending. Try to bend it straight, and I bent it like too straight. It should have a bit of a bow in it so it clears that hump. Now, another thing we got is the air filter. Put a new element in it. It's just a round circle. Oiled it. You just kind of saturate it. I have filter oil. And now we're going to put it on.
Certainly looks more complete. Fits right. The JB Weld fix that I did is holding up just fine. Should work great.